Hi and welcome to Expondo Gastronomy Experts. Today we'll be talking how to establish a menu for your food truck. My name is Michał Orłowski. Let's have a look. Alright, so as always in the beginning, let me remind you, this program is being streamed live. So feel free, and I encourage you to write us questions on our live chat. And let us know what you think about it. The more, the better. We will cover the subject, which is today, again, menu. How to establish a menu. And it is important to realize that creating a menu is a highly complicated process, and it's a time-consuming process. Contrary to popular belief, it's not just inventing dishes or copying them out of a cookbook or cookbooks. The issue must be approached comprehensively and take into account things such as market research, find out what people want, specify your target group, staff qualifications, equipment performance, storage and refrigeration capabilities, preparation time of each dish and all the dishes together, availability of goods, options for replenishment of the goods, prices of the goods and taste of own products, menu design, menu variation over time, and many more things. So let's get to the point. So first question is when and where to start thinking about the menu. I strongly believe you should start thinking about the menu as soon as possible. As soon as you have the idea of going into hospitality and going for a food truck or any other gastronomical business, you need to start thinking about your menu. Even if it's just loose ideas, be prepared to change the first menu many times over the next few steps I will be telling you about. But generally, just have an idea. And if it comes to the idea, think about what you're good at, what do you enjoy, what do you want to do, what do you think you're doing better than anyone else. And you need the conviction, you need to believe that you're doing the right thing, you need to be passionate about your product. Otherwise, and let's just take an extreme example, if you are proper vegan, but out of your market research, it comes out that beef burgers are the most demanded product on the market. And if you decide to go into burgers, please note, you will never be able to taste your product. You will never be really good at it. You will, well, generally, it's a huge disturbance there. So you shouldn't go for something that's just popular, right? You need to believe in your product. Of course, you need to take into consideration the current trends, but generally, if you do it without conviction, you're doomed for, well, being average, and being mediocre is not a good start for a business. The next step is to determine the target group, and this is quite important. Generally a specification of a target group is crucial for any business. If it comes to gastronomy and generally hospitality, you have to spread your target group as much as possible. You have to hit as many taste buds as possible in order to make sure you achieve success. So basically, you need to analyze current trends, see what is missing and what is too much of. And remember, while doing the menu, you will never make everyone happy. That's impossible. That's impossible for food trucks and any other gastronomical business, even the largest restaurants. You cannot cater for everyone, for all their needs. There's just simply too many. But you can diversify your product in order to hit a few target groups. So let's just imagine if you're doing a burger, a classic burger, and then you do a cheeseburger, and then you do a cheese and bacon burger, and then you do a cheese and bacon and lettuce burger, you're basically hitting the same audience, the same target group the whole time. Maybe it's worth thinking of a veggie burger, maybe a chicken burger, maybe something crazy, Asian fusion burger, something that will make your customers, and remember that is a huge thing, when people arrive in groups, they are not likely to split. They want to be in one place, get everything in one restaurant or one business, because they want to be together, right? So if you have few options, that will cater for all their needs or the most of their needs, they're more likely to stay all at your place. If they can't sit together, they will look for some other place that will cater for all their needs together. So that's one thing. So after initial specification of the plan on the menu, you should move on to more specific ideas for individual indexes on the menu. Crucial and necessary are trials. You need to try out the dishes you are planning to do on your menu. And you don't need any expensive equipment, and basically you don't need to have a restaurant or your food truck yet. You can do it in your home kitchen, and your audience will be your family and friends. Test your products on your closest ones, because then you will get the first feedback. Although it is not quite objective, it's just like singing in front of your mum. Your mum will always think you're the best singer in the world. However, you can see their expressions, you can see what hits their taste buds and what doesn't. And then again, you can always get down the recipes, make sure you know exactly what's on, get pictures done, see how it looks on a picture, make sure you get the methods down, write down all the methods of preparation, and also this step will determine what kind of equipment you will need, and it will determine some of the processes that will be going on in your food truck later on. And that will again determine the used space, how to arrange it, and so on. So once you have pre-developed products, you can start looking for ingredients, and that's a very, very important step. You must specify the availability and the possibility of replenishment during service. It can happen, and it will happen, that you will run out of something really essential for your menu during service. It will need to be able to, get something in where you are. So if you're a food truck and you're taking part at the festival out of town at maybe a smaller place, or well, a village maybe, it may turn out that it's not possible to get the Kobe beef you thought for your burger, or your gold leaves, or true caviar. So just make sure anywhere you go, you can replenish all your ingredients. There's nothing worse than just, scratching things off your menu on the first day of the event and not having them for the second. And I've noticed this many, many times that you go on the third day to an event and you see, some booths are operating with 1 or 2 products out of 6 or 7. That's really devastating. Of course, you've sold out, which is great, but then again, you could have earned so much more. So being able to replenish all your ingredients needed for your service is crucial. The solution, of course, is wholesale purchasing in large quantities, but considering the small amount of storage space and fridge space in a food truck, it may not be enough. It may not be the right solution. All right, so when we're looking for ingredients, we immediately analyze prices of goods and we are able to evaluate on the products. You need a recipe for pricing, which you already have out of your first trials. It is important to specify the so-called price barrier, and that is an important thing. So certain things will not sell above a certain price level, and you have to be aware of that. So if you think the price barrier is around 30 bucks or 30 pounds, whatever, then going above will mean the sales will drop on that particular product. So there's 2 ways to go about it. Again, you will need to rethink your menu. First of all, you can think about substituting your ingredients for cheaper ones, or you can do a risky thing, because generally the food cost should be around 30%, up to 35% most on the average on the menu, and you can play around with the prices a little bit. So if you know the price barrier is around 30 pounds or bucks or whatever, just drop the price, even though it will go over the planned food cost on this particular item. So let's put it on an example, like for example, pizzas are the best. So let's say you have a margherita on the menu, which is one of the best sellers, but it will cost you around £2 for each pizza, and you're selling it for £15 a pizza. I mean, I'm making up the prices now. So obviously there's a great food cost percentage, it's just marginal, so you want to sell them as many as possible. But generally you have a supreme pizza with Kobe beef steak, with, I don't know, asparagus in the middle of the winter, and then you have gold leaf on it or something really expensive. And basically each pizza costs you to produce around 7, so it should cost around £30. So you can drop the price to around 25 if you think that will increase the sales and make sure that product sells at all. But generally you're increasing the food cost on it. So you don't want to be selling that particular item too much. And of course it can turn up that, you know, at some event people just going crazy about the supreme pizza and they will bombard you, which is, you know, that's why it's quite risky. So I would recommend, playing around with the ingredients just to make sure the price levels are right and the quality is right. All right, so after all this, there's time to play for real. So we are already having the menu, we did the pricing and everything. It's time to move into the food truck that is already standing. So first thing you do with your menu, again, you're doing trials of all your menu items. You're trying to service them all at once, separately, in different configurations, and so on. This will determine the so-called bottlenecks. And you have to eliminate bottlenecks. Let me explain to you what that means. Basically, let's imagine you have a burger, right? And you have a grill. And for that one particular burger, you need to grill the patty, and you want to do the bacon on the grill as well. You want to do the buns, toasted buns, on the grill too. Also, you think it's a great idea to grill the onions and to do grilled tomato, for example. That's your thing, all right? So it may turn out that this one burger will take 3/4 of the available space on the grill, which means you will not be able to service more than 1 or 2 of these burgers at the same time. Thinking about a festival that gathers about, thousands of people, and potentially in a queue you may have 50 or 60 people at a time, that's simply too long. So you have to think about these processes and find solutions. So maybe grill the tomato and the bacon first, or just pre-bake it, just to make sure it goes on the grill, slap, 5 seconds on each side, so it's warm on the burger is ready to be serviced. So basically you just have to do the trials. This is also the stage where you can streamline the processes, make sure everything works. You're training yourself, and well, you can still make sure that you apply some changes to your menu. All right, so also at this stage, because we're talking about bottlenecks, it is also very important to, or necessary actually, that you have all your necessary products for your production and your service in sufficient quantities in your food truck. So imagine this case, this scenario. You have 5 burgers, 5 different buns, and you let your customers choose what bun they want for their burger, and you're going for an event that has potentially thousands of people. You're planning to sell 500 burgers on that day because that will turn out is your maximum you can handle in a day, right? Theoretically. So you need to make sure you not only have 500 buns total, you need to make sure you have enough buns for the customers to choose. They may all go for one particular sort of bun. So you may run out of this bun very quickly. If you don't want to avoid that, well, you need to stock up on this particular item. So it may turn out that the 3/4 of your space in your food trucks is taken by buns. So you have to adjust accordingly. So either make sure you store enough or reduce the number of buns available for choosing, or just implement one. It's about the burger, not the bun, unless this is your thing, the home bakes. All right, so maybe reducing the menu is a solution as well, just a food for thought. All right. Attempts at premises or the trials are also a great training environment. That is, as we finally determine the recipes and how to make dishes, we can start training the crew. And here comes another element that revises our idea on the menu. Of course, people can be trained. Of course, you can teach your staff pretty much anything. But if your product is too complicated, and you will see that in the trials, then in a huge rush, and remember, as a food truck, you are visiting festivals with potentially hundreds and thousands of customers, so it can be really, really hectic. Therefore, if a product is too complicated, you are again doomed for mediocrity. So some products may not come out as they should be, some products will be done wrongly, or generally it will take for a long time. So sometimes simplifying the menu, focusing on quality of service and of course of the product is much better than pushing through a complicated idea, because it's also very stressful for your staff, and staff rotation is never a good thing. Like excessive staff rotation is not a good thing. So you don't want to lose people of a stressful situation during service when you potentially can make money, right? So another bit is about the whole looks of the menu, because that is also very, very important. When you're creating the menu, make sure you think colorful, make sure you think variety, make sure you think that it simply looks like $1 million, right? So I would avoid, and it needs to be legible, and it needs to be clear for the customers straight away. So you don't use complicated fonts. I've seen it many times. So someone used Gothic or some other font. I had to really come close to see what it actually is. And I lost time and I lost appetite. I just went something that was clear. All right, hot dogs, that's something I know. All right, let's go for it. I don't know what that is. So don't use abbreviations that are not clear. Obviously, you want to educate people, and everybody knows these days what a BLT is. But if you're doing fancy abbreviations, some may not find it really clear. So just make sure you elaborate or explain on the menu how it is, what it is you're selling. Also pictures. I was never a very great fan of pictures on the menu, on the food truck or anywhere else. It always brought this association with old school Chinese restaurants where you had all the dishes with pictures on it. I found it really cheesy. But these days, especially with food trucks that serve a completely new cuisines, and they are going into things that are generally not known by the public, it was great to put a picture of the dish that you are serving. Not everyone knows what a ramen is. Not everyone knows what a cheburek is. You have to elaborate on that. The only thing that you need to make sure is that the pictures are done right, that they're really, really the best pictures you can imagine. Otherwise, they will do more harm than good. Talking about the looks of the menu, I also found out a very interesting thing about keywords. It's not only reserved for the internet, but also on the menu. So there are certain keywords that make the dishes sell better. So before you change your menu item that you are really sure of, you're producing a great shakshuka or whatever, but generally the product's not selling, people are just simply avoiding it. Make sure you play with the name, with the description first, before you change that dish. I've noticed, as I said, there are some words that are pushing the customers into purchasing the particular item. So the thing is, let's imagine shrimps or prawns are one of these words. People love prawns for some reason, right? So if you do a salad with green beans and cocktail sauce and prawns, and compare it to a prawn salad with cocktail sauce and so on. Make sure there's something interesting and catchy in front. Make sure there's something in the middle. Make sure there's something at the end. Those keywords. And I have this beautiful example with it. I introduced in one restaurant the dish. It's a calamari. It's an entree. Calamari with chili chorizo in a butter wine sauce. And I never paid attention to descriptions. I just thought, all right, it doesn't matter, people are reading it. It turns out people read usually the first 3 or 4 words of the description. They don't go any further. So the dish wasn't selling really well. And one of my managers came up, all right, let's change it around. Let's put calamari, chorizo, and all the ingredients like onions and parsley. Though it's somewhere in the middle because you need to include all the products that are in the dish. But in the description, prawns, chorizo, and chili were in these distinct places. Suddenly, from one day to another, we increased the sales on that particular dish with the same traffic by 50, I believe, %. So suddenly, instead of selling 10, we sold 20 of these dishes. So the sales just plummeted, just went through the roof. So it's an important thing to remember. All right, let's check if we have any questions. Since there are no more questions, I think I explored the subject enough. If you come up with a question in regards to menu or food truck building, feel free to write us on the address below. It will all come into my mailbox. I'll try to answer all the emails individually. Unless there's plenty to one particular topic, then we'll try to make another clip out of it. On my behalf now, I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope we see you next time.